All right, so folks, good afternoon, Eric. Everybody, this is Eric with American Business Systems, and we want to talk with you this afternoon about how to fast track your training and start your own medical billing business. So again, ABS has been around for 26 years. It is fast approaching because this year seems like it's flying. It'll be 27 years before we even can blink an eye about that. Well, what makes the backbone of American Business Systems so strong is the platform in which we use for the medical billing, the electronic medical records platform, which also has its own built-in clearinghouse, which it has its own built-in patient portal, and e-visits, which we know as televisits. We'll talk a little bit about the system this afternoon, how you're going to learn that, how you're going to learn it virtually, and then you'll learn about some of the other platforms that we have to share with you. Again, everything from a standalone telehealth platform to coding, medical auditing. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to hopefully be able to get into this afternoon. Some of you have already heard Patrick Phillips as we got started earlier than normal. He was on here a little bit, sharing with you some success stories of some other ABS licensees, but he'll be our co-host this afternoon. He is on the advisory board of what's called the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. He is a contributing editor to the BC Advantage magazine that goes out every other month, so it's bi-monthly that goes out. And then he's also a writer, writing the books, The New Thriving Medical Practice, Cash Crunch to Cash Flow, and one of his original books that he wrote was How to Reprogram Yourself for Success. Matter of fact, Patrick, I believe you are going to be interviewing Jesus Monroe in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But you and I have both been talking to him over the last couple of days and weeks, and what an interesting quote that he sent to you in an email that we thought we'd put it up here for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this is right out of his email. We just cut and pasted it. One interesting thing he says that I noticed out there, I asked him how is it going marketing during this time of social distancing and so forth. He says the many hospitals are letting doctors go because they're going through financial problems and so they have to let people, lay people off. He says this is a great opportunity for us ABS licensees because those doctors now will either need to create their own practices or join other groups. So Eric, we saw a few years back, a big wave of doctors shutting down their private practices and going to work for hospitals. And now the wave is moving back the other way. So there'll be that many more doctors out there for our licensees to approach.
You bet.
Yeah.
It was just to ask, are we going to let these, and we kind of got a cat out of the bag, or we're going to let you know what it is? Not until we've launched this with our ABS licensees. So give us about another week or so. We'll be able to share that with you directly on a webinar that we're doing here on our weekly Wednesday webinars. But we thought we would announce that to our licensees first, and then we'll start rolling it out to you. But we always like to at least let you know what's kind of going on. But the other thing that we want to talk with you about is who is your trainer? I mean, obviously, today's topic is how to fast track yourself and get trained in medical billing. Obviously, it's done online. Patrick, let's talk a little bit about Cynthia, where she is, how we came across Cynthia, and let's just kind of talk about who she is.
Yeah, now folks, Cynthia's our lead instructor. We have many other people that can teach these classes, but right now we're trying to book people who, if you get in early enough, you get to actually have training by Cynthia. And look, we have even a picture of her graduating from our training when we were doing it live at a hotel here in Dallas. There she is, right, holding up her certificate there. And I don't know if she knows we're showing this picture or not of her. This was, 8, 10 years ago, Eric? I forget how long it was.
I believe it may have been even 2008. Further than that.
Yeah. She had no background or experience in this industry, which is true of most of our licensees, by the way. She's in Gilbert, Arizona, right outside Phoenix, currently an active licensee with 11 employees / contractors with clients in 5 states. Eric, people don't realize you don't have to have just clients in your own city, do you?
No, yeah, you can have clients in other states. I mean, because there are no territories, so you're not bound to a certain zip code or region. Obviously sometimes there's some regions that you have to kind of stay within. So it's wide open where it comes to medical billing.
Yeah, so Eric mentioned that it's online training. Let's talk about that just for a second, Eric, because
Sure.
the online training is something that most people are aware that nowadays you can do everything online. You can learn, you could probably get a college degree, I'm sure, online.
Yes.
So what we did is a few months back, we stopped doing having people fly down here to Dallas. This was before the whole COVID thing came along. We were just ahead of our time, I guess, in doing this. And we said, let's just move it to completely online. We can figure this out, and we did. And Eric has been terrific. We've had people go through training, even well, you know, Daniel, I interviewed Daniel last week, and he said he had gone through
Correct.
training in October of last week. That was the online training we're talking about here, all done online live with Cynthia. Look, there's a picture of Cynthia there on a computer screen. And he got his first client in March. So
Right.
it's from 30 to 60, 90 days, most people have their first client. And Eric, he said in this interview that he had already started making about $5,000 a month. So folks,
Right.
this is as real as it gets. It's not a fad. It's not a scheme. It's not one of these, you know, internet reseller type of businesses. This is a need out there that doctors need help with their billing. And our licensees are trained to go out there and help them. And Cynthia, again, has her own business. She's been running her own medical billing business for years now. Eric and I could do the training. We've got several people on our staff, Eric, as you know, that could train this thing. But man, to hear from somebody who's actually out there in the field day after day, that makes a big difference.
Correct. Yeah. And folks, what you're going to learn here I mean, what we're going to do today is kind of pull back the curtain on what you actually learned. So feel free to ask us any questions. I'm kind of monitoring the question box areas. So if you've got something and it's a question that we can answer directly because we're talking about that particular topic, obviously that's what we want to be able to do. So feel free to pop in any questions that you want. One of the things we're going to teach you during this live online training is what it means about revenue cycle management. Because again, Patrick, we've kind of got this a couple of wordings here. This is not your mom and pop medical billing training. You and I both remember, I bet you 15, 20 years ago, there was a lot of medical billing at home training. You could learn it, you know, on the side. You could do this a little bit. And I believe that's kind of not necessarily how your wife Linda got involved, but there were some courses back during those times that's what it was for. It was just kind of a little part-time gig, and you could do this, you could kind of learn it. And some of the people that did that are actually still in medical billing, grown their business to big businesses. But we've gone far beyond just what you call the mom and pop training.
Actually, Linda, back then, there weren't any companies doing that medical billing training that I knew of. I kind of helped develop, you know, the whole idea of teaching other people how to do it. And Eric, I saw companies come and go in this field. You know, they wanted to make a fast buck in the business opportunity field, so they would slap together some stuff and teach people. We're the only company that's been around for 26 years doing this, that continues to train our licensees, continues to hone this. Eric, this live training that we do, as you know, evolves monthly. Every month we're updating, we're changing, we're increasing, we're adding things to it. That's because it is a industry that has a lot of change going on in it. So by the end of the first year, let me back up. By the end of the training that you complete, which you can complete in a month's time, actually, you'll be a certified medical revenue manager. Eric, let's talk about that and talk about RCM.
Yeah, RCM is what you're going to need to know anyway. So part of what you're getting right now is a little bit of training that you would get there. Obviously, this is some basics, but revenue cycle management is what doctors understand of what you talk about medical billing. And if you begin to start engaging with a doctor right now, or you're talking with other people, I would kind of tell you to stay away from the whole terminology of you're thinking about getting into medical billing. You could obviously talk about you're getting into revenue cycle management. That's really what you're getting into, because it's involved more than just the billing. Obviously, there's billing, there's claims preparations, there's claims submission, there's claims management, there's claims reporting, and it just kind of goes through the entire cycle again. That's what revenue cycle management is. But again, it goes beyond that because of the other services that we have. It could be some revenue cycle management of the codes that need to be updated. There's a lot of codes flying around right now because of COVID. So you need to know what those are. You know, when you get into the billing side of it, you know, are you billing for a regular visit? Are you billing for just a telephone visit? Are you billing for an e-visit, you know, where it's virtual medicine now? There's a lot of different things that are going and happening there that involves more than just getting that claim and processing that claim and kind of following it through. There's a lot of things going on, obviously, in revenue cycle management.
Yeah, now Eric, let's talk about the iClaim system. Our cloud-based system, folks, is truly in the cloud. You literally can go buy a computer today, take it to McDonald's, turn it on, hook it up to our website, log in with your credentials, and start running your business from anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. And the iClaim system, Eric, is so advanced, I don't even know where to begin. You've got some great screenshots. Maybe you can tell them a little bit more about what we go into in our training.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to show you here in just a moment, we're going to go through some screenshots of basically somewhat of what we know as a demo. If you want to get a full grasp of what's going on with iClaim, you need to get with the individual, your business coach that you're working with here, and have them do a personal one-on-one demonstration of the software with you, because that's where you're going to really be able to take some time, ask some questions. I mean, you can ask questions now, but you're limited of the questions that you can ask and what we can get to. But you know, we're going to do what we can do to help that out. Now, Jed's asking the question that you may want to be able to train and hire some employees that want to do that from a remote billing or like a remote billing clerk. And you're asking how many can you schedule for training? Well, what you're going to do through the online training that you're going to go through as an ABS licensee, there's going to be more of what you can do, or more of what you're going to learn during this online training that you may not want an employee to learn, okay? Pricing, how much you're making, some of that information there. However, Jed, we're going to show you here in just a minute on the licensee support site where you can send people, whether it's sales reps or people who are going to do the billing for you, to get some training done through some videos. Obviously, our support team can help out with that. So it's kind of unlimited, really, getting down to the bottom line of it.
Yeah, it really is. He's asking how many people. Now, during the initial training, there's 8 modules that you'll go through with Cynthia, your trainer, and you can have as many other people on that as you wish, you know, but, you know, you're going to be able to ask questions of her as you go through that. Again, it's for business owners, though, not necessarily what you're going to want your clerks to learn. However, as Eric said, there's lots of training videos and things that you can share with those people once you become an ABS licensee.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just dive into this real quickly. We're going to, again, kind of just show you a little bit about iClaim, what it is. Again, another little bit of training for you to understand that a billing platform is really what's known in the industry as what's called a practice management system. Okay, so what that means is you've got the doctor that can be involved, you've got the doctor's office front office to being involved, and then you've got yourself as the billing company that's also involved in everything. So think of iClaim as this nucleus of where everything's going to happen. So whether the doctor needs to get in it for the EHR, or the front office needs to get in it to set some schedules, or you and your team and your people that may be working with you remotely, they're getting into the system. It's the practice management. iClaim is what's known as a practice management system. So we're going to dive in here a little bit, just kind of show you what it looks like. Now, the form that you see,
let me pause and just talk about that just for a second. Folks, you know, with our system, you literally are in charge. You are the administrator of the system. You can add as many users as you want, and that doesn't cost you anything extra. So you can give the doctor, of course, logins to the system so they can handle the electronic health records side of it. And
right,
all the staff can have logins as well. You assign those to those users as you wish. And there's not any charges extra for those extra seats, they call them in
right.
software. Because it's cloud-based, again, any of those people with the right login credentials can go to our site, log in, and start using the system, as they need to.
You bet. Yeah. Yeah, so you can, like Patrick says, you are the one that's in control. You give passwords and certain security levels where they get and where they can get into and where they can't get into. And so right now, what we're going to do is kind of just show you a little bit about how to process a claim. So what you see to the left is an old form. It's called a HCFA form. Now, it's still known as a HCFA form because it's the health insurance claim form. That's where HCFA comes from. And so what you would see here on the left-hand side, you would normally, now, Patrick, this is what Linda actually created and typed out on a typewriter, if
That's
anybody
right.
remembers what a typewriter was.
Yeah, it was multi-part too. So if you made a
Yep,
mistake, you had to take each one of the parts and white it out and then
yeah.
retype it and correct it. So yeah, it was, and then of course you had to fold it up and stuff it in an envelope and mail it to the insurance companies. Now, of course, with iClaim, it's all done in real time online to the cloud.
So what you're going to learn in this training class is a lot of hands-on. So you're going to be given like a patient intake form and actually put it into iClaim. You're going to get a super bill, and you're actually going to input a claim into iClaim in our demo site. So you're going to have a lot of hands-on interaction with Cynthia, maybe some of the other trainers that might be going through with you, because you're going to run into some doctors' offices who may not be too sophisticated still. You're going to find a lot of doctors out there that still do a lot of stuff via paper, okay? Believe it or
Yeah.
not, they're still doing it via paper. They're not using electronic sources. However, we can start to show the doctor how to stop using some of this information, but still, you're going to need to know how to put in a patient. We're going to show you a couple of different ways, obviously a very manual way, and then some not so manual way. I mean, some really cool ways in which that can be done. But we're going to start right here. Just think of this as part of your online training. Again, like I said, this is just screenshots, but if you want to really see this in action, again, ask for a demo. But what we're going to do is just go to billing, underneath billing where it says enter charges. We're going to go to professional claim charges. That's where we're going to go. So we're going to pull up a patient here. In this case, we're pulling up a person by the name of Isabella Stevens. Now, obviously, this is not a real person because you got Isabella Stevens there and you got Gary Cooper at the top. So we're not violating any HIPAA violations right here because obviously I don't want a $10,000 hand slap, neither does Patrick. And
This
so
is
we're
fake,
just using
fake news. You're looking at fake news right here.
This is fake patients here. So we go through this and we're going to get to the part where we're actually going to start typing in some codes. Now, for those that are a little afraid of codes, we have every single code known to the human individuals in healthcare that you can imagine. So we're looking at the codes that right now that are called the diagnosis code. Simply, this is what's wrong with you as a patient. You can see, do you have acute pharyngitis? Do you have sinusitis? Whatever you have. What's going to happen is that ICD-10 code is going to go right there in that little one spot right down there. And there's a part there is actually missing a couple of little letters, numbers there, but it's an R015, and that's for a cough. Then once you got that in there, so that's what's wrong with you. Now we got to put in there what the doctor did for you. How long did they see you? What was the date in which they saw you? And as you can see here, we've already got a couple of dates, some very near dates here. A 99213 is what's called the procedure code. This particular procedure code is telling us how long the doctor visited with you. So this was a code that took the doctor about 15 minutes to see you as an individual, to diagnose you, to go over your history, make sure if you're smoking that you stop smoking, if you're drinking, stop drinking so much, all that history stuff, going through your meds and all that. And then obviously the diagnosis of what's going on with you. So all that gets wrapped up in about 10 to 15 minutes. That's where this 99213 comes into play. Then these codes are going to actually help you identify, or the system's going to tell you how much those cost. So it's going to be all in there, and then you click on create claim. You're done. That's basically what you're going to do. So I don't know how much easier that could actually be.
Yeah, and Eric was just showing you screenshots. When you see a demo of the system, if you ask for a live demo, we'll spend 30, 45 minutes with you, whatever it takes, to go through it with you live, actually connected to our system through the internet, and you'll be able to see it actually how easy the system is to use, and can ask all the questions you want to. Okay, Eric, wow, we're moving right along here, almost halfway through the webinar. So
yeah, Dalen's got. Let's get some questions answered here pertaining to what we just talked about. Dalen's asking, can the front office see how much the patient owes on their side? The answer is yes. They can pay by phone. And then Victor's asking, can your system talk directly to the doctor's EMR system? Yes, that's what we're getting into right now. We're getting to EMR.
Yeah,
EMRx.
EMR. We call it EMRx. We thought that was clever, the little symbol for a prescription. But the point is, folks, that as you can see, we're showing you an iPad. Now, this is what the doctor uses when they're actually interacting with the patient. You've probably seen doctors walk in with a computer behind them or a laptop, and they turn around and they're not even facing the patient. This was designed for the iPad, as you'll see from some of the screenshots. And it makes it wonderful because the doctor can just literally touch. It's designed for them to touch things and put in information about that patient. It's the easiest to use. Doctors are blown away when they see this, aren't they, Eric?
They are, yeah. It's just a touch screen. People ask, does it connect to labs? Yes, it connects to labs. You can do it all comes back in real time. All the medicines are also in there that the doctors can diagnose. As you can see here, it's touch, talk, type. The Victor is asking the question, can the system talk directly to the EHR? Well, even better than that, the doctors can, instead of just typing out what's wrong with you, they can talk into it. Obviously that's just where we are. We're just speaking to any device now, and it's going to dictate out, the notes. So it's all built in there for us, for your doctor to use. Pretty simple.
Yeah. Eric has several screenshots here that we're just going to kind of glance at. As you can see, folks, it's very user-friendly. The buttons are all large buttons for an adult finger to touch on the iPad. It can also be used on any tablet. It's platform independent. It doesn't matter if it's an Apple computer or a device or an Android or a Windows. It's just wonderful. Now, Eric's also talking about some other things here that we teach during the training that we're just going to mention real briefly, some of the ancillary services that you can offer to doctors. Again, all optional. You don't have to, but they're there and they can make you some money.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick, I think one of the biggest things that people are so concerned about when they first get into the business that we're part of, or at least in their due diligence, is this whole thing about coding. Let's kind of bring the fear factor down. You don't have to have a coding background to get into revenue cycle management.
No. Folks, we teach you how to get those codes from the doctor. If the doctor's not sure, our system will suggest the codes that they should be using for any encounter with the patient. And even beyond that, if we need help from certified medical coders, we have them on hand, ready to help you and the doctor through a service called CodeWrite. You basically scan the doctor's medical charts right into the system. This is all cloud-based as well. And we've improved doctors' revenue by up to 30% with this one service alone. So it's a great door opener, and it's a great service to offer to any of your clients.
You bet. Yeah, we've got certified professional coders that you can call upon, the doctors can call upon. If you need to scan their doctor's notes over to let them code for you, you can do that. If you got questions, if the doctor has questions. So Patrick, when one of our licensees is asked by a doctor, can you handle my coding? The answer is always yes, because you as a licensee of American Business Systems, you're backed up by professional coders. You don't have to hire them. You don't have to be one. You just use them as you need them. That's the best way to help you understand this.
Yep.
Same thing with Audit Guard. Audit Guard is what it says. It's taking the codes, making sure that they're right for the doctor. And you can see right there where it says stop coding mistakes. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, doctors get fined, as Eric mentioned earlier, I think up to $10,000 for every error that Medicare finds when they audit them, and they can just pop in right out of the blue any day and audit the doctor. Many doctors have paid thousands and thousands of dollars in fines because they weren't using the correct codes, and this service protects the doctor from having an audit done and gets them ready for it, basically. There's reports that come out that you'll be able to review with the doctor. Again, it's all online, but those reports are very valuable to the doctor to give him a real picture as to whether or not he's, billing as he should with the right codes.
Yeah, Patrick, a lot of people don't understand this, and I want to make this point very, very clear about the Audit Guard. One of the things that you could do with Audit Guard is to evaluate a doctor and make sure that they've been coding properly even before you even start doing their billing. It sounds like we've got a CPA on the call today, so you understand about audits. And this is a great door opener for you to go in there and say, look, I want to get your billing, but one of the first things we can do is offer you this service of an Audit Guard, kind of a preliminary to kind of see if you're doing your codes correctly. This is a great way to start building trust with the doctor, and it's a wonderful way because you may not do the billing, but you could help the doctor from not what they call clawbacks, which is where Medicare or any of the other insurance companies will go in and say, we want that money back because you miscoded. That's what it's all about. Quick collect. Patrick, let's talk about quick collect.
Yeah, receivables from patients is a big problem. People don't realize they only collect about half of all the money that they bill to patients. Now, there are patients who don't have insurance. There are patients who their insurance doesn't cover the entire thing, and so they owe some money to the doctor, but they very rarely go after that money. We have a system, again, it's online, cloud-based, that does all the collecting from the patients for you and for the doctor, and it's not a collection agency, but it can recover a lot of lost profits that are just really just sitting on the desk. And we go after those and collect those. Yeah.
Choice Pay is another service that you can use as a door opener to help, again, get money, revenue back into that doctor's office. Patrick, we've got iDocs now. Now these are the things that you're going to learn. Each one of these components, each one of these services, Cynthia is going to take time to go over with you to explain the service, to explain why it's needed for the doctor, help you with questions that you can get the doctor and their staff for discovery, and then lead them to a demonstration of maybe one or two or more of these particular services. So again, we're just sharing some of the services that we have for you, but these are the things you're going to learn over those 8 sessions that you're going to have with Cynthia, and each one of these are going to be taken in for you for a lot. Compliancy Guard. Patrick, I don't know if you remember this or knew this, but just last Friday, we had our compliancy group on there for Compliancy Guard for our licensees, again, talking about HIPAA compliancy in this world of COVID. What's happening with COVID is, because some people have heard that HIPAA has been not so enforced right now, but I'm telling you, HIPAA is really being enforced right now.
Yeah, and it can, again, be huge fines for the doctor. So Compliancy Guard helps the doctor be compliant with all the HIPAA rules and regulations for patient privacy and guards against those types of audits. Okay, Eric, here's the big question. We have a question up here from Bob who says something about, what do you do to teach us how to get clients? Well, that's the next step here is marketing training. Let's talk about that.
You bet. Marketing training. And again, all this is done online. And obviously, Patrick, we've had to change a little bit about marketing because of COVID, how to market in a social distancing market right now. And obviously we know how to do that. But one of the things you got to do is figure out who is your target market. So let's talk about this real briefly. A lot of people ask, Patrick, what about eye doctors? What about chiropractors? Can I bill for dentists? Can I bill for hospitals? Can I do this? Can I do that? What we're going to tell you to start building your list of any provider using what's called the CMS 1500 form. That's the form that is used to bill through the iClaim system. People want to know who uses a CMS 1500 form. Doctors, surgeons, chiropractors, but not dentists. Dentists
Right.
do not bill on a CMS 1500 form. Hospitals do not bill on a 1500 form, which means doctors that service hospitals bill on a CMS 1500 form. So hopefully that kind of brings some clarity.
Yeah, and so that's the form we mentioned earlier. I think we have a picture of it there, Eric, that just shows them again what that is. That
Right.
is a standard form that the government came up with, and if the doctor is billing, they're billing on this form,
Yep.
either on paper or electronically, one or the other. Now, marketing
Yep.
training, folks, if you're looking for basically one of the ways we teach you to market, and there's about a dozen different ways we teach, is to look for power partners. Eric, talk about power partners.
Well, power partners are going to be pharmaceutical reps, CPAs, bankers, brokers, medical malpractice people. Jed's on here. He's a CPA. He's asking the question, do you know if you have any CPA licensees that offer CPA professional ancillary services, such as payrolls and stuff like that? Yes, a few of them, Jed. But you're going to have, where I'm going with this, Jed. If you are already doing that with doctors, you become your own personal power partner because you already see what the doctors are either getting or not getting. And so from a standpoint, from a marketing technique of what we have here is we're going to show you as an ABS licensee how to become friends like with somebody like Jed who has these contacts with doctors. So, and it won't be just with CPAs, it'll be with bankers and brokers and real estate people, pharmaceutical reps. That's what we're talking about being with power partners. And Patrick, I can tell you, there are a lot of meetup groups right now who are not meeting personally, but they're meeting on Zoom meetings. Folks, you don't even have to leave your house to be part of a networking meeting anymore.
Right. It's all done digitally online. The technology's out there. There's nothing to be scared of. As you can see, this is a good example of somebody using it. We could have 4 or 5 other people on here if we wanted to at any one time. Some platforms like Zoom, I think will let you have like 100 people on there at one time.
Right.
So practically speaking, though, it's great for one-on-one meetings. And folks, we give you marketing training in all of these. We didn't cover a couple of them there. Telehealth is one of them, for example, that we've added to our training. We go into detail about that as well in that live online training with Cynthia. So let's talk about the subject matter expert, Eric. What does that mean?
But obviously, we're going to try to teach you again and position you to get you as much information where it sounds like you know more than either the doctor or at least their staff. In a lot of cases, what we're going to teach you, you are going to know more. And it's not just that you might know more, is that you have the expertise behind you for over 26 years of here at American Business Systems. However, it even goes further than that. You're going to have a new business partner by the name of Dr. Vicki Rackner. Patrick, I'm going to let you talk about who Dr. Vicki Rackner is.
Dr. Vicki is actually a retired general surgeon. She saw thousands of patients in her days when she had her own practice. And folks, now what she does is she consults with and helps to train people like you. That is, people who want to contact doctors for one reason or another. Financial advisors, for example, she's been helping those for years and years, Eric. When I ran across her and realized her expertise in this area of marketing to doctors, I said, Dr. Vicki, we want you to partner with ABS and therefore with each one of our licensees. And that's what our licensees get to do, Eric. They get to partner with her. For example, we have books that she's written that you get to put your name on those books and become associated with her in that book. Eric, I had a licensee just a couple of weeks ago I interviewed that he sent out in the mail, didn't even give them in person, 3 of these books with a personal note to some doctors. All 3 of those doctors called him up and said, you know what? I've had some spare time here now that I'm not seeing as many patients because of this COVID thing. I've read your book or parts of it, and I think I need your help. So it's a great door opener. Plus, it builds huge credibility for you to show that you are a partner with a doctor. And anyway, we let you put your name right there on the front cover of the book. Yeah, there it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, and, you go right on the front cover.
Yeah, we've got a forward that's a pretty generic forward, or you can write your own. And then your name is on the title page inside the book. And at the end of the forward, you get to put your contact information. So folks, this is a marketing tool unlike anything you've ever seen. We're the only company that has anything like that that can give you this kind of credibility partnering with a medical doctor. Doctors listen to what other doctors say. So when they see a book by a doctor, they'll pay attention to it. Here's the one that we're just about to release, Eric, on 9 ways physicians in private practice let money slip through their fingers. And
Yes.
these are the kinds of books that doctors, they eat this stuff up because it has to do with money, and they know they're not making as much money as they used to.
And another quick way we're going to show you and teach you is really, again, it's the sales reps, which just, again, become another extension of what you can think of as your power partner. And, Patrick, I've been in this, I've done a lot of research and development for our licensees, what parts of our system actually works for marketing, what doesn't necessarily work. And a lot of people think, well, I'm going to go hire a sales rep. Well, if you don't think about necessarily hiring a sales rep, but if you can meet sales reps that are repping already with other doctors already, well, they already have a relationship. Now, because of their contracts, they may not be able to do and sell your product directly, but what they can be is an incredible reference for you. And
Right.
if you're able to work with them and they're able to get a little bit of the piece of the pie, a little cut of what you're able to do, you're going to find out that you can hire a sales rep without having to really hire a sales rep and pay them a big commission.
Yeah, so we teach you how to find those people, where to look for them, how to interview them when you do get one that's interested, how to actually hire that person, train them, how to pay them. We go into detail in our training on that, folks. That's just one, again, of about a dozen different ways that we teach you to market. Eric, let's talk about the support, because we do go into that in detail in the training as well. And that's as important as anything, that people have support after they get started. We have an online support site that's open 24/7.
It is. It's online support is there 24/7. Now, we actually have someone answering our support line, not 24/7, but the information is there. Now, whenever it comes down to technology support, or whether what you're trying to use for like the iClaim system, that we do have. We have that is open from 7 a.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Pacific. So there's a pretty big window of support for you for our technology. But the 24 hours, is from our licensee support site. And Patrick, there is a ton of information that's on the LSS.
Yeah, we've had that out there, I think, since 2014. What is that, 6 years? And folks, there literally are hundreds of hours of webinar training that we've done over the years, because you see, your training doesn't just stop with the initial 8 modules that you go through. That gets you kicked off. But then, as you can see from this email that just came out today, we have webinars on a regular basis. There's one Friday, that's this Friday, on introducing this new service we call Doctable. So folks, the training never stops with ABS, and it's all included in your one-time licensing fee. We just did one recently, in fact, with 4 licensees who shared the ways that they have built their business. Eric, I have a little video there if you want to show that right quick.
Sure.
We can stop it anytime we want to, of course, but I want people to actually hear what it would be like to sit through an actual training for our licensees. We do those on Fridays usually.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get this to come up here and hit play, and I think we're going to go mute whenever
This is Tim Warren here, and I want to welcome you to our roundtable webinar today. We have these 3 fellows right here that have all been signing consistently up new clients. And I wanted to give an opportunity to each one of them to kind of tell their philosophies and share that with the group. How about you, Don?
We have, so tenure-wise, we just crossed over 1 year being a licensee. We have 8 clients so far, and should be higher, but I'm going to use an excuse. COVID-19 hit, we had to adjust. So we are still having demos, I'm happy to say, and I do want to, as a trophy ball, sign up at least 2 doctors while we're in quarantine. That's just a personal goal. But
Don
you know.
Bowen is the hardest working man in medical billing. I got to tell
You
you.
think so?
Yeah, man.
But our specialties right now, we have podiatrists, we have labs that we're working with. We just recently meaning right pre-COVID-19, took on a behavioral health clinic, which we weren't familiar with how to do that. And it's going to be, with our partnerships there, it's going to be very, very profitable. And we're hoping to see a lot from that as well, and really opened our eyes as far as how that space is working. So let's see, who else do we have in there? And then we have a great physical therapist office. That's where we are.
Great. Daniel?
Our clients are primary care. So they're primary, care, but some of them, they have X-ray in their office and other types of things in their office. So X-ray and a lot of beauty products and things like this as well. As you know, Tim, we got started kind of right between Christmas and, we're pretty new. So we got started between Christmas and the COVID thing. So we have been meeting though with dermatologists, gastros, and orthopedics. But one thing I would say too is if I may just expand on that a little bit.
Yes.
These doctors are associated oftentimes with other clinics or hospitals or things like that. And one of our doctors, that we signed as a client, it's turning into an opportunity for us to do a trial run of providing EHRs that a hospital network wants to pay for their physician base. And so that actually gets us out. I think the first trial may be 25 providers.
That's amazing.
If I may add one thing to that, Tim, and one of the things that's worked well for us during this COVID thing. So I'm holding up this book. We probably all know it, The New Thriving Medical Practice. Yep. And we've sent these books out to doctors, and it's a way of getting in front of the doctor without, right now, I think I said this to Tim the other day. I view COVID as a huge opportunity because there's a whole new fruit tree to pick, and it's not lemons.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's good. Very good, Daniel.
Covered a lot of challenges in their practice because of COVID-19. And they also, a lot of them have a little extra time on their hands because they're not doing elective surgeries and things like that, at least in some of the bigger markets. So they're reading these things. And we had a dermatologist call us and say, hey, come see me. And we went down there on a Saturday, and it was a little strange from a perspective of business meeting because we all had our face masks on, including the doctor. And, a little more challenging because you can't see if they're smiling or frowning or sticking their tongue out at you. But the benefit of it though is that it's opened up some eyes inside, from the doctor's perspective, because they don't know, a lot of them, they don't have telehealth, they don't have this, they don't have that. So when we're sending this out with a little letter, we're getting more attention. So there's ways to get in front of even new clients. I think, it's really good that we have the tools as an ABS licensee to be able to do so.
All right, Patrick.
Oh,
That's,
yeah. There, you hear it from licensees. Folks, this is what's great about being a part of the nation's largest network of medical billing companies. You're a part of our network from coast to coast, and you get to interact and ask questions live. During this webinar, we were actually taking questions live. That's the kind of thing we do, about every other Friday. We're doing one of those right now, Eric. So a couple of times a month, you'll get live, new, updated training. And then, of course, on our website out there, we have, oh gosh, like I said earlier, hundreds of hours of different training videos that we've posted out there. So there's no end to what you can learn from ABS.
Yeah, that is for sure. And then when you wrap up all of your training, everything that you go through on that, you're going to be awarded as a certified medical revenue manager, and that's what CMRM stands for, that you get to put behind your name. And so, folks, you do get a certification with that. And so, Patrick, I mean, as we kind of start wrapping up here, we got about 8 to 7 minutes left, and I know there's a couple of questions we want to get to, but let's get to the money back guarantee, and then we'll get to a few of these questions as we kind of start wrapping up here. We were able to crunch in a lot of information to you and for you this afternoon, including that little video. So hopefully that's helpful. But Patrick, at the end of this training, you know, people still get an opportunity to complete their decision as to whether this is the right business for them.
Yeah. Yeah, because folks, we're the only company that I know of that actually offers your money back. 100% of your license fee will be refunded if you go through our training and decide for any reason this is just not right for you. I don't know of anybody that does that, Eric. I don't think any companies can afford to do that except for us, because we know what we have, and we have had a handful of people over the years ask for a refund. We do that because we don't want your money, folks, if you're not sure that this is something that you want. Now, so I'm just going to say this, Eric. There are other companies that do something similar to what we do. Ask them, do you have a money back guarantee? If their answer is no, ask them why. That would be a very interesting question to have answered. So, yeah, Eric, I thought I'd cover some steps, but why don't we answer a couple of questions there? Trudy's asking about, in regards to HIPAA, are there certain things required from working from home? Well, yes, there are, Trudy. The nice thing for you to know is that all of our systems, everything we offer is all HIPAA compliant. That means you don't have to worry about HIPAA from the standpoint of using our system. Now, if you left your computer on and somebody came in and stole your computer, it wouldn't matter because our data doesn't reside on your hard disk. Again, companies, Eric, that have software that is installed on the computer of the billing company, they're at great risk there for letting all those patients' information get into the hands of other people, but not with ours, folks. Ours is on separate servers, different parts of the United States, redundant, they're called, so that if one goes down, the other one kicks in, and they're backed up nightly for you. So it's all HIPAA compliant.
And Trudy's also asking, how long does it take to complete the 8 modules? And what does it take? A couple of weeks, Patrick? Is that what it is?
We've had people complete this in, well, less than 30 days. So think of it this way. You can go through it at your own pace. You set up with Cynthia the exact schedule that you want that fits your schedule. And some people will take a couple of sessions a week. There's 4 weeks is all it would take. If you do more than that, of course, you could get through the training even faster than that. But let me just give this warning. Having said that, Eric, there are only a certain number of slots available, and we can only take so many people at a time through the training. So, folks, if you're serious about this, you've got to get back with your ABS rep. We'll give you a way to contact them here in a minute. And just tell them, look, I'm very interested. I want to go ahead and lock in my first training session. So, get me with Cynthia so I can set a time and date, and then you can complete your due diligence, call some references that we have for you, and of course, get your funding together.
Absolutely. Jed's asking, does your billing system import data such as receivables or payments to accounting software such as QuickBooks? It does, David. It's obviously you can export any of the data out of there in a CSV file, so you can take it into pretty much just about anything from there that you can download into QuickBooks or a spreadsheet or anything else like that. So there's quite a bit that you can be able to do.
Steve says, is it possible to complete all the modules in a week? Steve, I've never known anybody who can do that. There's 8 modules, so there's only 7 days in a week. And even if you did 2 a day, that would be really cramming it in, because what you don't know is that there is homework after each one of those modules. We have sites that you go to on the web and download some things and watch some other videos, and so it just takes time. I wouldn't encourage anybody to do more than about 2 a week. So plan on a 30-day period there of getting your training done. If you want to speed that up, again, if the slots are available, it's all about the schedule that Cynthia has, then you're certainly welcome to do that. But yes, Steve, you can lock in your first training session with Cynthia without having to make the payment yet. We understand that it takes time to sometimes put your funds together. Yeah.
All right, so let's go through about 5 steps what you would need to kind of get your next steps going. Patrick, let's talk about a quick research guide here.
Yeah, first of all, you're going to be asking your ABS rep for these things, and we have their an email address and a phone number at the bottom. This guide right here is a 50-page PDF document that you won't see all this information on our website. You have to ask your ABS rep, I want to see the research guide, because folks, again, we want to know that you're serious about getting into the business. There's no reason to even order the guide if you don't have any money set aside or credit on your credit cards or something to be able to purchase our license and invest in the business. So again, it's just a waste of your time really to do that. But this is a great guide that will give you more information than you could possibly need to make the right decision. Just ask your ABS rep. You can email us at info@absystems.com and just say, who is my ABS rep, if you're not sure. It's the person who invited you to this webinar. Or call our 866 number. There's somebody right there today ready to take your call if you want to ask who your rep is right now. Then browse our YouTube channel. Boy, Eric, again, my interviews are out there. There's probably 150 out there, plus other webinars that we've done that we've posted out there. So there's literally hundreds of hours to do your research, folks. We encourage you to go to the YouTube channel there. There it is on the screen, youtube.com/YABS.
And then ask for some references. If you'd like to talk with some of the ABS reps, like Jesus, like we mentioned earlier, we're going to be interviewing him in a couple of weeks. Dan, whom we interviewed last week, the guy that actually held up the book, he's available to talk with. Don, it could be one. So if you want to be able to chat with some of those folks, just give us a call. Again, get with the person that you're working with here, and they'll give you a list of some of these folks for you to contact. Then you've heard me say several times during the webinar today about looking at the demonstration of the software. You want to get with your rep here and get a time to where you kind of, it's a one-on-one kind of test drive, kick the tires, see what's going on with the software, so you got a good understanding of that. And then Patrick, lastly, is looking over the purchase agreement.
Yeah, folks, we have a very simple 4-page purchase agreement. Just look it over. If you have any questions, of course, we can answer those. It'll tell you exactly how to do your funding and how to get that to us. As soon as we receive the funding, of course, you actually can start your training and get the thing kicked off as fast as, well, usually within 48 hours at the latest. Folks, it's again one-on-one with a live instructor. There's 8 modules that are 60 to 90 minutes each. And then you have immediate online access to 50 additional hours of video training. I need to update that, Eric. It's probably more like 100 hours, but there's all kinds of training available to you after those initial training. But we want you to have those 8 to 12 hours with the instructor so that you have the ability to ask all the questions you want. Nobody else is on there but you. It's not a class situation. It is truly one-on-one with our instructor.